Hi, and welcome to the Live Edge Lumber Girl Show. This episode of the Live Edge Lumber Girl Show comes to you from Tegs Tools, with 2 locations to serve you in Hamilton, one at 1104 Barton Street East, and in the mountain at 1361 Rymel Road East, your go-to store for hard-to-find tools and machinery. And now, an interview with Mike from Stolar Studios. I'm excited to learn more about you because I tried my research and I didn't find a lot about you out there.
Yeah,
You're low key. You're very low key.
Yeah, currently I'm low key because I guess we can get into it whenever you want. But yeah, it's been it's the 3rd reincarnation of where I wanted to go with the business. So
right
on.
Okay.
Yeah. So
great. Well, let's get into it then. Right. Okay. So
okay.
So tell me about how you started. And
when I was a kid, I would spend Bob Vila's home time just watching.
Same
it was
here,
one of those
same
things. Yeah, and my old man would do stuff around the house, and I just watch. And he always let me do stuff no matter what. And then when I walked into 14 years old, when I walked into a shop class, all that I guess I was a visual learner because I was able to do everything right away. So the shop teacher at the time was just like, "How'd you learn this?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just know how to do it." Like he'd show, "Can you make me?" I think we're making bread boxes or wooden mailboxes. Did the miters, glued it up, and it was no problem for me. And then the skill development just started as soon as I got my hands on actual machines and all that, and it just started going. And yeah, that's how it started for me. And there's the constant desire to learn more and work from other people. And I was fortunate enough to work with a couple people from Germany, my dad's friends that were craftsmen over here, working here, and then I think the best thing for me or anyone in this or wanting to grow their skill development is just to see how other people are doing stuff. Because everyone can make a table or a chair. It's just those little, this is how I use my jigs, or this is techniques I use to round corners, or whatever it could be. It's just the setup and all that. And there's someone, no matter if you think you have it dialed in, there's someone doing it more efficiently somewhere. So this whole journey for me started when I was about 14, and it went all the way through grade 12. And then I was stuck in an office, them telling me that woodworking was going nowhere. If I wanted to be so this is around 98, and they're telling kids computers are the future. It was computers. So they kind of talked me into going into college at Mohawk out here in Hamilton, and I lasted about 3 weeks and told them that, hey, this isn't for me. I have to be working with my hands. And then I kind of a little lost soul for a little bit, and then I was still doing woodworking. I was making things. I started like a 10 by 10. My dad had a garden shed, and I had my tools, Canadian Tire Craftsman stuff. Thankful for my parents, super supportive. Always needed a little drill press, had a tabletop drill press, joiner, all that kind of stuff. My dad always, if I needed it, kind of saved up for it, helped me, and then it was kind of feeding the fire. And he kind of saw that it was something that I was into, and he was disappointed that there was no, at that time, there was nowhere for me to go. So it was either I think they gave me an option to go build portables or work on a line in a factory making kitchen cabinets. But that's not really what I saw as being woodworking. So if it was today, I feel that, I guess with social media, there's so many more options for kids, and you can see that you can actually make a living doing this. It might not necessarily be making furniture all the time. That's what, and then you can do it as long as you supplement that. You can have a good life. So college, left. I was working on a night shift at a sandpaper factory making sandpaper belts. Machines were constantly broken, and then I was like, "Oh, I can fix that. It was the mechanical side of it. It was the same thing because I was always fixing machines in the shop. Anything I had always broke. So I can fix that. I'll do that. And the boss pulled me aside and goes, "Hey, you should go over to Mohawk. They have a millwright program, industrial mechanic." I'm like, "I have no idea what that is." He goes, "You'll be suited for it." He goes, "Here, go. Let me go for the day. Talk to the guy." And I met this British guy, and then we talked about hobbies, interests. And I go, passionate about woodworking. He goes, it's just like woodworking with metal. Same process, same idea.
Right.
And then he goes, you can
Exactly.
apply everything you do. As soon as he did that, I kind of did that. Ended up in the steel industry. That was my day job, working in the Fastco.
Oh yeah.
Allowed me to pay the bills and buy more machines, and then everything started growing. So everything was, it was
Awesome.
always woodworking on the side, and that was it. Then I kind of left there, got hurt, and then I started working with my dad's German friend again, just started honing those skills. Spent some time in Australia, didn't know what I was going to do, but first thing I started doing was found a wood shop, and then I kind of started sweeping floors and kind of let me do some stuff there, and that was a whole new experience. But
You worked for a woodworking company in Australia.
yeah,
Okay,
so
cool.
just sweeping. I
Cool.
started sweeping floors, and then they kind of see, hey, this guy isn't a liability, and we can give him some more responsibility. Because that's the fear, right? Even to this
Yeah,
day, people
sure.
are like, oh, can I come use your shop? Can I come use some machines? I'm like, oh, I took a high school shop class. But that's my fear, right? Someone's going to lose a finger or stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
so came
always
back.
that.
Came back, started a company, Miko's Custom Furniture, just started making DVD towers. That was at that time. It was like, looked like
Yeah.
a Greek pillar fluted. And it was just started selling those like crazy. And then someone asked me to make him a poker table, like a collapsible poker table. And he goes, I have one, paid a couple $100 for it. But every time I put my beer in it, it would fall over because it was a shallow dish. So I said,
Yes.
I was thinking about it, had it at my house. I'm like, oh, I can make some straps so the bottle would go in. You can't knock it over. So I got into it, made it, used pool noodles as bumpers, wrapped the vinyl, taught myself how to do all that stuff, did all the material, all the felts, started buying felt by the roll, and I couldn't make enough tables. I had three. It was out of my parents' garage at the time,
Yeah.
and then I was a double garage, so I had their double and my uncle's and a second cousin's garage. We had three little places that we were building these tables, and it was just all word of mouth. And it was the same time the hockey strike happened when poker picked up. It was just dumb luck.
Yeah,
And
no kidding,
I
eh?
could not make enough of them. It was just, and then even though I raised the price, I think we started at $180 a table, and then by the end of it, it was $550 a poker table.
Wow.
And I couldn't, like, I was going to fabric stores buying stuff by the roll, like the giant, like I'll take the roll of the blue, green, black felt, load it in the truck, let's go, and all the vinyl you have. And the guy's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm building poker tables. He's like, oh, can I buy 10? It was just, everyone was
Oh my
having,
gosh.
yeah, it was like everyone at that time was having people over playing poker. It
Yeah.
was at the right time. And then that kind of lasted for a year. So that was my taste of building something. And then I was just doing stuff, construction, just paying the bills and stuff like that. And then someone asked me to make a beard comb for them. This is when beards got big. And then he said, what's a beard comb? And he goes, oh, it's the apply oil to your beard. I'm like, all right, I looked at it. He goes, can you build this? Because the teeth on it broke. I'm like, yeah, I can make one. No big deal. So I made one, loved it. I worked with Exotic Woods in Burlington. I picked up some of their Bacote and Cocobolo, some of the craziest woods
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean? And I made the handles and all this kind of stuff. And so it was like a cherry, ash, walnut base, and the handle was like an exotic wood. So,
Cool.
and everyone loved them. Yeah, so that picked up, and then I was doing pop-up shops in Lululemon. It was all through Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Someone goes, you got to put this on Instagram. And then it was just at the time where people were just going crazy for it. Picked up distribution across North America. And then we got picked up distribution in Brazil. So that was, I made stations in the shop and kind of was doing about 80 combs a day. I was able to do it. So I was buying, I have a 6x10 trailer, just a trailer load of wood, cutting it all down. So the combs were roughly about, that's
Okay.
that's an old one that I actually found
Okay.
around. It was the more exotic, and I think my cost on these was like $1.28, and they were selling for 52. And I couldn't understand it. And then as soon as you start talking to people, and then beards blew up, and then I got approached to people wanted to buy the business, and all that kind of stuff. And then they wanted to partner with distribution deals, and it was just exposure to like
Wow, that's
a whole different
wild.
side of, you think that, yeah, you know, you got a good business or you got a good sense because you're selling a couple tables. But when you get into that, and then this guy showed, the company was called, I think Perma Brands, and never heard of him. And I go, what do you do? He goes, I'm the guy that when Shoppers Drug Mart or any store across North America wants to order something, they order through me. So they have he was the catalog. So we got into their catalog, and then that company was called Stick a Comb in It. And the thing was where our logo was a picture of a beard, like a silhouette of a beard with a comb sticking in it. And I have a good friend help me come up with the name of it. And that's what people were doing. They're taking pictures and tagging us. And then,
oh my gosh, that's totally wild.
It happened so quick where, you know what I mean? You go from like a rigid table saw, you have a saw stop, and then you try to set up machines, and you're not even enjoying the machines because you're just putting them to work. And then that escalated when a UFC fighter, Travis Brown, started liking my photos. And then I sent him some stuff and posted pictures. And then, no, didn't cost me a thing. Loved it. Loved the product. And then that kind of introduced me to other people in that game about, oh, would you want to sponsor this fighter? Would you want to do this? So, and that was, I sat back and I'm like, all right, so I have a product. I really don't have a business here. What's the future for it? And we kind of got out of that at the right time. And then ever since then, we were trying to just, do I get back to woodworking? I was doing decks and fences as, you know what I mean, good income. And I thought I was a way, you're building someone's fence. What else do you do? I make furniture as a way to get in people's homes. Because the competition out there, everyone's doing tables and furniture and all that kind of stuff. So if someone calls you for a deck and fence, you know what I mean? Oh, you do furniture too? If you already established that connection. So I saw it as a way to doing that. But yeah, that kind of allowed me to expand my clientele. And then ever since then, we kind of made the switch to like instead of doing like generic charcuterie boards and stuff like that, what everyone else is doing, it's just fine furniture. So conversation pieces is what we try to sell it as. So that's what the fixation is right now. And that's where we see everything going. So the evolving Stolar Studios is working with designers, creating conversation piece tables, fully like authentic and things like that.
I saw your very authentic expandable table.
Oh, don't get me started on that. That's been a labor of love.
How long did you work on that? Over a year.
So first version was about a year and a half. Great, worked. And then I'm like, all right, I can't put this in someone's home. I want to make it, I want to be able to scale it up. So like that was I think a 4 to a 6 seater, and no one really something that small. So I go, what if someone wants a 6 to an 8, 8 to a 10, 10 to a 12? How do you scale this thing up? So ripped it all apart, and I started doing used linear guide rails, did all the math, and I got into 3D printing, started printing all my ramps and all that kind of stuff. Because there was a company, I'm not going to say it, but I went to pick up my parts, and when I was there, they knew what I was up to, and they were printing extras of everything because they must have been following me on social media, and they were printing everything that I was making for themselves. So they were, as I was building a table, they were building a table, and then my hiatus from Instagram began. So I see. So I mean, like, it was, I didn't call anyone out on it, but you kind of see what everyone's doing. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll just get this thing done and disappear for a bit. And then, so that was my little hiatus from Instagram. And then just recently finished a lounge chair, which I was happy to finally get done. And my biggest thing is I'll start something, I'll take a couple pictures, I'll do some feeds in my stories, and then I get caught up in what I'm doing. And like, I didn't take any pictures before I went out the door. So I think that's my new focus as I continue to grow and build my brand, is just take people along the journey of what's going on in the shop.
Yeah, it is a lot of work to keep everybody in the loop on Instagram as to what you're doing, just to make sure that you get enough photos to share what, the process and stuff like that. And it's when you're right into
doing the woodworking, you're not thinking about stopping and taking pictures. And how much time does it take to like, set up the camera and
Yeah, I know, like a lot of these guys that do like river tables, and I feel like I'm following along with what they're doing. Like I'd love to see someone set up. They must have tripods or different cameras all the way around and just shooting as they go, because I don't have the time to. I'm tired, or maybe it's just I'm doing a different type of woodworking or something like that. Like I know that's challenging and on its own, but yeah, I think by the end of it, if I'm trying to figure out some angles or do some complicated joinery, it's like last thing I want to do is I wonder what camera angle.
yeah, which camera angle? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. I think
But
putting
the
a
people that
camera
do it, like,
oh yeah,
what?
kudos to them that they're able to do that and share with everybody, because we all learn from that, right?
Yeah,
And that's the awesome part about it, is the sharing and sharing and learning,
yeah,
in the community, right?
yeah. I have a
Yeah.
friend. He was over a couple of weeks ago, a friend through my wife, and then his father passed away. He inherited his wood shop, and he's like, "How do I get started? I don't want to sell the stuff. I really want to get into woodworking." And I said, first thing you do is you start up an Instagram account and follow. You know what I mean? Let me know. I'll tell you who to follow, and then start asking questions or watch videos, because it is probably the best community out there to share stuff. And then I go, you'll make friends, and
Yep.
then if there's someone's done it, or someone's actually probably going through, I mean, starting a shop, there's all different levels, there's different things you can do and all that. So it's we're very fortunate to be part of it. I guess we're in the hub out here out in Ontario, because it seems that everyone
Yes.
out here is doing it. So
The rest of the world is very jealous of Ontario, hands down. I know, because I talk to a lot of people.
yeah,
Me being in the industry the way I have been, I've talked to people all over the world, and everybody says, "What's with Ontario? You guys got it all." And so we should thank our lucky stars for that, for sure.
yeah, it's great if you're a maker or a woodworker, because there's so many places. One, you can pick someone's brain, or if you need wood or supplies, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Because like I would never, I think of shipping epoxy. Like there's about 7 or 8 different places where you can go and talk and know that someone kind of, it's not just a salesman that's doing it, they're selling you something, someone that's used it and things like that. So that's key to
Yep.
me. Like it's the conversations about woodworking, or having that authentic conversation with someone that I enjoy. And like when you said, "Oh, looking to talk wood," I'm like, yeah, because you know what? I go to wood shows and I'll lose 45 to an hour just talking about projects with people. So you hardly even know anyone, but I think everyone's connected with the woodworking, because no matter where you are, even when I was in Australia, you mean 10 minutes in, maybe, yeah, it's a different country, they do things differently, but woodworking is woodworking, and you kind of, you know what I mean, you start talking about stuff. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got a number of followers actually from Australia. So I don't know how they found me, but anyways, I do have followers from Australia that we chat every now and then. So maybe they
nice.
found me through you. Who knew? Who knows?
Oh, who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Right on. Um, so you that expanding table, did you put that into a woodworking contest?
We tried. So that was the 2019 woodworking
Yeah.
championships. And about 3 days before, I was this is the whole reason it was torn apart. It was made with wood guide rails, turned, and every piece caught, ripped the whole thing apart.
Oh,
Yeah.
so then you couldn't be in it.
Nope.
Is that what happened? It ripped apart and
Yeah.
then, oh, that is oh, after all that, because I watched,
Yeah.
I went through and followed along to see how far back that went and what the procedures were and all that. I was like, wow, that was huge. But then I
Oh,
didn't
it
see
was
anything
gut
about the
wrenching.
show.
Yeah, it was gut wrenching, and then I
Yeah,
went to that show and I was like, oh, it could have been. It was, everything was lining up perfect. It was going to be
yeah,
done. I fell in under their restriction of how long you can work on a project to put it in. And then I remember being in the garage, it all ripped apart, and I was like, there has to be a better way.
right.
So I kind of stopped it for about a month, and then I got back into it and started rebuilding everything, which was whole new process. So
So you're still working on that now then?
yes.
Okay. So are you
So
rebuilding it, making it better, making it,
it's
uh,
done. The
it's done.
only
Okay.
issue I have now is it's ready to veneer. When it opens and I rotate it out,
Yeah.
one side, so there's 4 segments, and one is traveling a 16th ahead of the other ones. Doesn't seem like much, but when I close it, that one bottoms out first.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out why that's happening. And I think it just might be a slop issue where I have to re-machine some parts. But yeah, so it's all done, ready to veneer. And then, it's been another whole set of challenges doing with metal and stuff like that. But yeah, that's ready to go. And I think the biggest issue for me was doing it on my own. So there's like bike lifts, and there's pulleys hanging inserts in the in the ceiling in the shop. So yeah, it's quite the setup. But
well, it's good that you're so innovative that way, that you're able to overcome those obstacles to be able to actually do it all by yourself.
Oh, it's devastating. Sometimes like there'll be weeks where I can't work on it, so cover it up. I'll work on another table. And I talked to a bunch of guys, the makers, and they said you usually have 3 projects on the go, because you'll hit a wall with one. The worst thing you can do is walk out of the shop and kind of just pivot to something else, and then you'll kind of get a fresh set. So I was one project and kind of that was all in on it, and then I built a new shop, and then I can get about 3-4 projects going on at the same time. So it kind of allows me to stay fresh and stay in here and keep my mind thinking about woodworking. So
what about, I saw that you did some turning really early on. Are you still turning, or is it something that you just dabbled in, or?
I got bored with it.
Okay.
It was one of those things where, someone goes, it was like a pepper shaker. And I was like, I have a lathe that I picked up for $50. I'll fight. I haven't had a reason to use it. I turned in high school. I made spindles, a teacher's railing. They need me to match some spindles, and my shop teacher, Mr. Skirhan, was like, yeah, Mike can do it. No matter what, he'll do it. He'll figure it out. He goes, figure out how to make 6 of these. I'm like, all right, fine. And then he kind of came back, goes, hey, you got to do it this way, watch your cut. And that was it. And then I got into turning maybe 10 years later, and it was just like I hadn't left, and I picked it up, started making some pens. And then I started following some people and saw these baskets that people were making, or bowls. I was like, I can get into that. And then, it just kind of made sense of what they were doing. And I got into it. And then other people started wanting furniture, and turning goes aside. Like
I can totally understand that the making the furniture definitely is more rewarding than turning a bowl. But just depends on the maker, right?
Yeah,
I've seen some pretty cool bowls out there, actually.
Oh, I've like some people like I downloaded software to make patterns and how to get like the flowers in it, and I was like, wow.
And put the epoxy in it and all that. Yeah, you could do some really wild things, definitely.
The biggest thing with turning, which I've been trying to for the last year and a half, go to the guild in Ontario. They have the Woodworkers Guild of. I can't remember the actual name of it now. They have a guild. It's a pretty big one, and they meet twice a month. And for me, was grinding the chisels. I don't know what I was doing wrong. And then everyone's like, you got to do this. And then you're like, just come out to one of our meets. And it was always on a weird night or something like that. I couldn't get out there, but they had twice a month, people bring their projects, what they're working on. And they had demos, and they had grinders out there. For me, I need to have someone show me how to grind a proper chisel, like the radiuses and all that kind of stuff. So I was using Busy Bee, or I think I went down to Tags and I got some chisels. And then once they went dull, I was like, I'll just get another set and I'll just end up grinding.
Okay.
So they're inexpensive, but that's what it was, because I couldn't get out there to have someone show me how to properly grind them, because I felt after I grounded, the cut was even worse. And then things started tearing. So, and then, someone wants a table or some stuff like that. So you're like, all right, we'll put the turning on hold. But if you said, hey, you want to turn me a bowl or something like that, I'm itching to get in there. Because I used to go live and turn, and people would watch me turn live and stuff like that. So it was kind of fun to do that. And I used to sell razors when I was doing the beard stuff. So I had razor kits and all that kind of stuff, where we had like the wooden handles.
With the handles?
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the things I learned from that whole business adventure was for it to be said made in Canada, it has to be 55% of it has to be put together in Canada. So the company I partners with, the distribution company, would get stuff in from China. They take apart the plastic handles, have me turn a wooden handle, and they put it on. They were able to slap "Made in Canada" on it because it fell under the guidelines of "Made in Canada."
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've heard all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, all right, fine. But he's like, yeah, we need a bunch of these. I was like, all right. So, but yeah, it was one of those weird things where just being exposed to that stuff. So it makes me think twice when it says "Made in Canada," how much of it's made in Canada. So
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you have to inspect it to figure it out if you wanted to buy something that says that and you're not sure, right? I know I worked for a furniture company that, pulled some shenanigans like that way back.
It's those things where unless you're exposed to it, you kind of have no idea what's going on, right?
Exactly. So you are you shop at Teg's Tools.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So who do you usually shop? Like when you're going to Teg's Tools, which one do you go to?
The Rimal.
Rimal. Okay. Yeah. So you see Gabe.
Yep.
Yeah.
When I worked at the Fastco, I used to go to the one on Ottawa and Barton. And then the last couple of machines I picked up from Ottawa and Barton that I got, because that's pretty much those, because I guess their side warehouse down there, they have another warehouse. That's where they had it. So yeah, it's try to support local. Being a Hamilton boy, you know what I mean? That was my first big tool store going to. And like, you know what I mean? I'd send my dad, even I was living in Toronto and stuff like that, I send my dad to Teg's and I'd have stuff waiting for him. So it was great. Kind of, if I like Exotic Woods out in Burlington, I remember their first location being like a 15-year-old kid walking in there, not understanding what board feet was. And they kind of walked me through it. And other, like for Exotic Wood and things like that, like I have a hard time going somewhere because they're so great there. And I've developed this relationship with over the last, 15 plus years going there. It's just, it's almost like a family.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. It's the community, right? It's like this feeling of love and respect for each other, right? And you just trust, and that building of trust, right? Doing business with people you trust, and So you know that Teg's is my sponsor. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. That's why I thought when I saw that you actually shop at Teg's, I thought I gotta bring this up. I've been working with Gabe on this. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I remember talking with Gabe. Oh, this is years back about I'm not going to mention any names, but the tool reviewers out there. And this was before everything blew up. I'm like, you know what? That's a good gig. It's like, you get these tools and all that, and I don't know. I wasn't fishing for some free tools, but I was kind of fishing for some free tools at the time.
Hey, I've been trying.
You know what? If anyone can get anything and you don't have to pay for it, you kind of have use for it, that's awesome. I've heard some horror stories about some tool companies and people making videos, and then by the time they made them go back and edit videos and not happy with what was going on, as long as you're not in something like that, I think it's beneficial. Anything, because it gets expensive, right? Especially the festival stuff or even the DeWalt, and you know what I mean?
If it's a hobby, it's not a cheap hobby, that's for sure.
Like I tell my wife, she's like, oh, if you wanted to upgrade, what would you do? I'm like, you don't want to hear the number, because if I get to upgrade on everything, I'm probably, you know what I mean? I'll probably go to Powermatic or something, because it's just, you know what I mean? Why not go bigger or better? But yeah, like, I mean? I try to keep it uniform. I had a mismatch of stuff, but now I'm like I think I got King, mostly everything in here, King and Festool. And I just want to keep it consistent, because for me, if parts and like nuts and bolts and stuff that's left over, I was trying to keep some uniform in the shop, even when stuff goes down.
That makes sense.
So I'm always thinking about the maintenance thing, and when something breaks,
that's really smart. One for the listeners to take.
Yeah.
Right? Because when it comes to the repairs, if you've got the parts are universal, then
it's helped me out before when something breaks down. You're like, oh, I can take it off the bandsaw, and then, you know what I mean, I'll put it back together that way, because everything kind of I feel that I can make it work if something goes down. So
so what's your next have you got something big coming up? Or
for me, I'm currently renovating, and I got 2 little ones. So
okay.
So I just finished a closet for the house. I did the lounge chair. I'm planning on doing more like a reclining lounge chair. I want to get into chairs and finish this table, hopefully in the next month or so, and start doing like a lounge chair, because not too many people make chairs.
You're talking about the walnut one that you just posted? Okay,
yeah,
that looks so comfortable. Like, it just looks like you sit in it and you're like,
I love it.
Yeah.
Wife loves it. A couple other people like, oh, the back's too low, back's too high.
Okay.
It's just,
but it's giving you that support back here, right?
I just like the lines
right
of
where
it,
it needs to be.
Yeah, I feel it does. So I'm gonna do more of like a full back lounge where so front feet are higher, back feet lower, almost like a garden, like a garden chair kind of thing. But it'll be more of like it'll be with a walnut, when I'm gonna try to get some exotic woods in there, put the cushions in on it. So that's the plan for that. And then our plan is to have 4 or 5 different things before I launch the new site and get into it that way. Right. So we're going to have some chairs up there. I got 2 tables in here that the expanding, and I have another large oval table with metal legs that I'm going to get done, and then get that up and running. And that's the plan for the next short-term couple months. And go from there.
You'll be launching a new website then.
Everything. I've been working with a friend that's in marketing and all that. It was more of recreating my brand to separate myself from somebody else, and trying to find out who my target audience is and how to kind of set that up, and just getting taken to school on that whole thing on the marketing side of it. Because I think, as anyone can relate, is what do you charge for your furniture? How do you deal with someone that's not willing to pay what the time you put into it? So like, if I charge you $12,000 for a table, in my mind, I should kind of know if you're the type of person that's going to pay that, or do you buy tables that are $12,000, $15,000? Right. So it's more about pre-qualifying customers and where do those people buy furniture. It's just been getting taken to school and learning who my audience is, and kind of cutting out the middlemen. I'll deal with anybody, but I really, you know what I mean? As long as I'm not looking to build a table for like $100.
Right. Sure. Yeah. No, yeah. I get it.
Everyone wants to make money. I'm not looking to hit a home run and pay off my mortgage with one table sale, but I think people have to find, you have to find that customer that sees the value in what you're doing. And I mean, I think that's what everyone does. They kind of find their little sweet spot and they know what works for them. But when you're I'm not looking to have someone, not lowball me. I don't know what the word is, but I really don't want to go back and forth. When I did decks and fences, people would haggle, and I'd be like, listen, that's my price. I can walk away. You know what I mean? I got other people that I got work to do for. I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? If you're going to haggle me for $500, what's going to happen at the end when it comes time to pay and try to collect?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm a firm believer in standing your ground on your, on price, because no one should ask, like, you know, when I buy something from one of my clients or whatever, you know, like I bought a clock from Generational, and that, you know, I'm not going to ask that person to give me a discount. That's their livelihood and they work hard. And when you have somebody like you, who, with all of your years of experience and the amount of quality that you're putting into your products, like, if a person wants to pay IKEA prices, well, then go to IKEA, right?
Like, you understand that as a maker, but I have friends that make well over 6 figures, and then I think someone wanted a humidor for their cigars, and I was like, listen, by the time I put it together, and you know what I mean, the wood, that's way too expensive. I can get it cheaper. I'm like, then go get it cheaper.
Yeah.
I go. So, and it's like, you have to, like, I'm tired of having those awkward conversations with people. And like anything, when you start in this, and I tell people, it's like, anyone that's listening to this, or it's like, who's your first person that you're going to sell to? Friends and family, right? So, and then once you have your friends and family, that circle ventures out a little more. We're like, I'm a friend of your aunt's. Can you build me this? And then that's when the real pricing starts coming in, when it's the friend of the aunt. Or then when you're outside of that friend of a friend and you're out in that ring, that circle, I feel like that's when you can kind of be your true self to your true business, because there is no connection to friends and family. You're not worried about offending someone. So
Right.
Yeah, I think as you continue to grow, you do this longer, you kind of understand that, hey, all right, I'll build something for my aunt, I'll build something for a friend, but listen, I will. So my biggest thing was I told people, hey, you want me to build you a table? Not a problem. You can come in here. It's going to take about 6 Saturdays. I need you to come do it with me if you want a deal on the
Yeah,
price. And then people
sure.
walk away from it and like, no, I can't commit that time. Then why would you
Right.
ask me to commit that time from someone else that's willing to pay for a table or piece that I
Yeah.
can do? I'm sure
I
you
can
can.
relate
It's like,
that to that.
yeah.
Not so much on the maker level because I just started making, but on the level of when I was selling the slabs. And you just recently started following me, so I don't know if you know my background. I used to sell big slabs. When I started, there wasn't as many uh, slab dealers as there is now. Even so, even then, I would just say to people would want a lowball, or they'd say, "Well, I can go to whoever," and I would just be like, "Okay, then you go do that because I have what you need right here in front of you, and this is the value." And
I think even if you break, you kind of devalue your brand that you're creating.
yeah,
Like, all right,
exactly.
I'll cut you a deal. It's like, all right, then what's you mean? Oh yeah, give me a good deal. I was able to do
Mm,
this, and it's kind of to me, it's like a snowball effect, right?
yeah,
I think if
absolutely.
you like whatever you do, even selling slabs, there's time and effort, and there's all that goes into it. There's insurance, there's machinery, there's like
Manpower.
that's the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing. It's like someone was like,
It's
"Oh, you
huge. Yeah.
charge this much an hour," and I think my shop rate when people would ask, it was like 120 an hour. They're like, "How come it's so much?" I'm like, "I got machines that I bought. There's
Mhm.
maintenance on the machines. Then there's insurance. Then there's hydro. Then I mean, on top of everything else, it's just like I haven't got into materials, and then I haven't gotten into my time. It's like, and then how about the 20 plus years of experience that I spent
Yeah,
learning to do it? So it's just like when you start breaking it down that way, that's when I sat down and said, listen, maybe I want to find that target audience or figure out how those people buy furniture and
yeah.
cut that out.
Right. Awesome. That's
Yeah.
really that's nice. Tell me about you. I saw that you built a new shop. When did you build a new shop?
2008, summer of 2018.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay. So that was a
yeah,
while ago. Okay. And are you in that
yeah,
shop now? Is that where you are?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. You built that on your property?
And yeah. I'm in South Burlington,
Okay.
so I've always said that it's going to be a 1,500 square foot shop, going to be out in the country, middle of nowhere somewhere. We moved down here, had a kid, and then I was
Yeah.
like, all right, I need to get out of this single car garage because,
Yeah.
and then it was like either we go rent a space and then go all in that way, and then I didn't like the idea of commuting or the flex. I didn't like the idea of like, if it's late night, I got to go do something, drive out, come back, the time wasted. So we kind of
Yeah.
sat down. We're like, all right, we'll build a shop. So I tore down a single car garage and went through the whole process with the city, seeing how the biggest I can make it. And then
Yeah.
we ended up with somewhere around just shy of 800 square feet
Okay.
is what I ended up with. So
Right.
yeah, did heated, cooled. The
Nice.
cooled was necessity for me because I don't like the heat.
Right.
So
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's one thing I don't have is I don't have any air conditioning. I put in a heater the first year when I moved when I bought the house that I'm in. I bought it for the shop because I knew what I wanted to do eventually, and I put heat in
yeah,
right away. Yeah.
we insulated the ceiling. We did a attic stairs going up. I redid it that way, so I have a
Nice.
whole storage space on top.
Oh,
But
awesome.
yeah, so my biggest issue was the to the house. So I did like a double wall of sound barrier and then just stuffed it with rock salt dead in the sound because if people were in the house and I was working, my concern
Yeah.
was everyone hear me on the plane or table saw and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So you
but
got
yeah,
that
the
sorted
double
out.
wall kind of, yeah, it was no one, there's a muffled sound is the best way to
Okay.
describe it. So I'll
Right.
have the radio up and things like that. So yeah, I'm happy with it. And yeah, sometimes I still can't believe that it's here and it's all done. And but
That's
yeah, I would have went bigger, but that's just my own problem. But
nice. You can never have a big enough shop because you just fill it, right? You just
yeah, I think
yeah.
someone told me, I always talk with people and they said that like about 1,200 square feet, one person on his own, constantly busy can generate about $100,000 like very easily, not working weekends and stuff like that. Once you get things dialed in, that's what they said was the ideal situation. When you start getting into bigger things, you start paying into heating and cooling that space, or like the insurance. Then it starts getting, you start working a little harder, right?
Yeah.
But 1,200, I think, would be ideal. I've seen people with over 2,000. I'm like, I wouldn't even know. That's when I'd get massive planers and sanders, and so. But yeah, that's when I've dealt with a couple people that I guess they have a shop and they have about a 500 square foot storage they sell boards too for people that need them. I always thought that was a neat idea, but they had a kiln in the back and they were doing like urban lumber and stuff like that. So trees that fell down and that they were salvaging.
Who's that? Oh,
Sal.
Yeah.
So I think his setup was the best. I remember walking through. I'm like, this is a great size.
I've never been there.
No,
we know each other on Instagram, and I remember a couple of years ago saying that one day I want to come and meet him, and I just never ever got to it. So he's one of the few that I haven't met yet.
Great guy, super helpful. I remember for this chair I was building, I was trying to get my hands on 12-quarter walnut for the backrest because I had to curve it and shape it. And if I laminated it up, the concern was when you cut into it, you would see the different types of wood when you cut into that backrest of the curve. No one had 12-quarter, and he was going back and forth. Must have hated me by the end of it, but he was super helpful. Couldn't find anything, but yeah, Sal would be the first guy I'd go to because he's right about 10 minutes from me, but super nice guy. Always, no matter what he's doing. I know it's a business for him too, but I mean, he's super helpful and always seems to like, I'll take a look and before I make my way out. So
I wanted to go back to the table just quickly because I forgot to ask you. You're going to do a veneer. What kind of veneer, and where do you get your veneer from?
Don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay.
So
do you need help finding some veneer?
Yeah. So
just let me know.
My
if you need help, we'll talk later.
I do because because someone told me, I was talking with somebody over, it might have been Norway or somewhere, maybe Sweden, and they were telling me that you want to stitch your veneer. So when the table is biggest and goes smallest, that is continuous grain. And I didn't understand how to do that. And they said you cut everything into triangles and you starburst it out.
Yeah.
And then you lay your table on top of it. And I was like, whoa, that's way. So and then I was like, well, I just got to get veneer and then we'll go from there. So I don't know. I wanted to do I've seen people work with a burl. I think that would be the easiest to hide all the segments and things like that. Yeah. So that's what, but yeah, I'm open to ideas. That's my biggest issue.
I've got some connections for that. It's old stuff from because I used to sell plywood, right? Yeah. I used to sell to mill with people that build kitchens and all that. So I have a lot of connections in the panel industry. So afterwards I'll try to pull together some information for you so that you can
definitely, because I have the vacuum press and all that ready to go and all that stuff. So it's just a matter of figuring out what I'm going to do. I think I settled on a burl, but I'm not. If someone I said, oh, this would be better, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, I'll see if I can drudge up a couple of names and to put you in contact with people. They're not far from you either. There's a few of them in Toronto that I know of. So
yeah, listen, I've driven to Kingston, so that's 4+ hours to pick up a machine that someone was selling. Went there, left at 3 a.m, turned around, picked it up, came back home. So nothing's too far.
Right. Oh yeah, so. I'm the same way. I like driving. It doesn't bother me to drive. I love driving and going. I'm hoping next week to get out to drive and visit a couple of people that I've said I'm going to come by your shop and check it out, because before long school's going to be starting and there's going to be chaos with this virus thing, I think, again.
You don't want to get me started on that. So I think we're about a month and a half away from another lockdown is what I predict. So Did you find that that really affected your business? I think even now with the uncertainty of what happens after the benefits are extended, and if there is another wave and people uncertain of, I don't think anyone's looking to buy high pieces of furniture. Like if they're, you know, I mean, no one knows what the future holds. How long am I going to have my job? And things, everything's
Yeah.
taking a hit, right? So,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think,
Does that make
like
you, does that make you want to
nervous.
rethink? No, well, does it make you want to rethink the level of like the price level of your product? You know what I mean? Like, do you want to, have you thought about, you know, I know you want to do the really high end stuff. You also want to have something that's a little bit like down here for people who,
Part of me
you know,
says yes. Then the other part
yeah,
of me says what I've created here is I can ride it out.
okay,
Where
yeah,
I think one of your questions, I said the tip is stay flexible
yeah,
and have multiple streams of revenue. So I'm not,
yep,
you know what I mean? So you write it out. And then my key thing is I want to work with designers. And I think if you work with the designer, the type of person that works with the designer is not going to ask, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Not too
sure,
worried about a table and stuff like that. I think
yep,
that's key.
mm-hmm,
So, and the, you know what I mean, type of people that I'm targeting or plan is to target consistently, wouldn't, I don't think they'd be, if there is a hit or a recession or things like that, they wouldn't be worried about it. I'm
right,
saying that now, but you know what I mean, 5-6 months goes by. I mean, I'm open to if someone wants to build a normal table, but all I'm saying
yeah,
is, I guess a long way around what I'm trying to say is like, don't ask me to sell you an expanding table for $1,000.
obviously not.
Oh, you'd be surprised. There's people like that on Instagram messaging like, "Hey, could I have your prototype table? I'll give you $1,500 for it."
Oh my gosh, how rude!
Yeah,
That's so rude.
yeah. So, but you know what I mean? Like,
I'm just looking up a guy that I want to hook you up with on Instagram if you don't know him, and I can't remember. I haven't talked to him in so long. Red Ridge, I think it is.
Red Ridge.
Uh, yeah, Red Ridge. Jeez, I can't even. He'll hate me. I don't remember his name. It's been. I went to his shop and he was working on an expandable table, but it was not round. It was rectangular, and it was something else to look at. And his
Like a
shop.
butterfly table.
Can't re- Oh man, we're talking 4 years ago probably that I was at his shop. That was back when I first Live Edge Lumber Girl started, and I was out like knocking on doors. Like that was cold calling days. I don't do
Hey,
those
that's what I
anymore,
did.
thank God.
That's what I did with my combs. I would go on a barber
Oh yeah,
shop and I have a little package of these are the combs I make.
yeah,
And it was the Night Owl Barber Shop in South Etobicoke. Brian down there was like, "Yeah, I'll take the whole case." I'm like, "Pardon?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll take everything." I was like, okay. And that's where
yeah,
everything kind of, you know what I mean? He
yeah,
was the nicest guy and he kind of, you know what I mean? He told me what worked in my pitch and what didn't. And it was like, all right, fine. I kind of built from that and then gave me the confidence. But yeah, that's what I would do. I have a little box, like a salesman
yeah,
box. And I think it was I took my dado stack, you know how they come in a wooden box. I ripped
yeah.
everything out, made a couple foam inserts, and I cut them out. And that's what I had because I didn't have time to make a wooden box. And I was like, forget it.
Okay.
I used the dado stack box. I sanded it all up,
Oh,
and that was it. It had a nice latch, and that's what I had. And I remember going around cold calling everybody,
yeah.
every barber shop out there, and then everyone was super friendly. Like, yeah, we'll take some combs, and that's
That's
so.
nice.
But yeah, the cold call,
Yeah.
that was very out of my comfort zone.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
it
Oh,
was.
I did lots of cold calling over the years. I've sold a lot of things, and so I'm not nervous about it, but I don't really like to do it anymore. And with Instagram, I don't have to do that.
Yeah,
That's the thing. When you have Instagram, you're in your customer's face every day. Every day they know
yeah,
who you are, what you do, right? So it's
yeah.
just matter of getting more followers organically.
It's one of those things where it's like, if you were, so what year did you start Instagram?
2016.
Right before that, I guess before the algorithms that started destroying Instagrams, like you
Yeah,
would tag like Kitchener, Toronto, and then you would just get followers day in and day out.
yeah.
And that's what it was. That was like the Wild West where it's like you just
Yeah, so
geotag
yeah,
and
I came in late, a bit late in the whole game, but I did when I was doing the slabs, my followers just kept going up, 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 up. But right now I'm sort of at a level where I'm just sort of leveled off.
my biggest thing for followers to get people across my Instagram, I used to go to Comic-Con, not a comic guy, but I had cards and I had people, were doing a giveaway at the time. Just come follow, tag some friends. But I did actually give them the card for my Instagram. And I remember I having a little for like a shopping bag full of cards. By the end of the day, I gave away 4,000 or 5,000 cards. I was just
Okay.
going out to everybody with a beard. Hey, follow
Yeah.
Instagram. We're going to be giving away some free men's grooming products.
Right.
I mean, love your beard. Maybe maybe we can send you some stuff. Give us a follow. Tag your friends. Opportunity to win some cool stuff. And that's at that time it was huge for us. And it was one
Yeah.
of those things where it's like different world now, right? You can't
Yeah.
even go talk to someone anymore.
Oh, I know. It's like, I know. I have a mask that I bought online. It has a picture of the Grinch and it says, "Ew, people."
I like that one. I
I
walk
like
around
it
with one
too.
with a big mustache, so
Oh yeah. Right on.
so yeah. Like even the wood show in January, because I think Hamilton's wood show is about to fire up. They're gonna
Are
do
they
it
going to do it?
virtually,
Are they going to do? Okay. I was
and
at the one
then
in Toronto in
yeah,
February, right before everything
like
went. Yeah.
so then it's like that's obviously probably not going to be on the table again. So I enjoy those because those are the opportunities to meet people and talk to people.
Yeah, and the
That's
interior design show. I particularly like the interior design show. I've gone every year now for I think 4 years. And I just got an email about it and I couldn't tell if they're doing it virtually.
I enjoy going, seeing the machines, talking
Yeah.
with people like this.
And
I don't
learning
know.
and finding out making new contacts
Yeah.
and
I didn't make my way
learning
out
so much.
because we just had a kid a month before.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was disappointing, but yeah, it's one of
Uh,
those things where.
yeah, I went, it was my first time going to the makers meetup this year. And my daughter was with me and she's 16. She's like little live edge lumber girl, but she doesn't want to admit it. But when I see,
Is your
I'm so
daughter
happy.
into?
Well, she's an artist, so she's into art.
Okay.
She's an art major in high school right now. She's going into grade 11. It's such a shame because I feel like if the next 2 years she can't go to school as a normal like student, she's missing out on her whole high school experience, you know? So it's so sad. And then to be taking art, you have to be there. You have to be there with the teacher, learning the techniques and all that stuff. And I don't know where she's going to take it, but she helps me in the shop with things, and she's played around with the epoxy and wood burning and stuff like that. And so who knows, me, she doesn't take a lot of interest in it, but it may, open up more as time goes by. She wants to be a firefighter.
Good for her.
Yeah, that's what I say. Good for her. It's like, okay, do I want my daughter climbing through windows and going into fires? Not really, but if that's what she wants.
How many fires do you think? You're out in Kitchener, right?
Yeah, I don't think we have very many fires.
Yeah, I remember.
Lots of bad stuff, right? Just lots of bad stuff happens, right?
Yeah. I think my biggest concern would be the going into an old building, a chemical building, and breathing in some nasty stuff and stuff like that over like a house fire. That's
right.
I'm dumb in my opinion, but
no, true. The exposure to toxic chemicals and diseases, all that's very, very real for those people. Yeah. Actually, you can check out, I'm about to release the chair maker, Jerry Arkema. He's a chair maker. He's a firefighter. And,
nice.
And I think it's great, like, that he finds that outlet for the stress, level that he must have been under lately, to do. Yeah, it's called Chair Maker Shop. So if you want to check him out, he does Windsor chairs, and then he does like weaving with, and interesting looking at his feed, because like he does all this bending and talks about how he gets his wood from like green wood, how he cuts it to keep that grain straight. And I learned a lot from him on all that stuff. So yeah, you want to check that one out when it gets released, and give
definitely
him a follow. Yeah.
Have you gotten into any steam bending or anything like that?
Me? No. Will I ever do that? I don't know. I don't know that I have ambition to make chairs. I don't know that I have that skill level, but because I used to work at Lazy Boy. Yeah. And so like you said about working in a factory where you're woodworking, but it's all just big machines and it's mass production, right? So I'm really good at the machine setup and all that kind of stuff. I loved it. And then I would be running through like 5,000 pieces of the exact same thing, right? And kept me in shape. I was in really good shape, that's for sure, doing that.
I believe it.
Yeah, always moving, always pulling big lifts of wood and always on the move. Yeah. I miss
I
those
worked at
muscles
a
that I used to
stair
have.
place out in Burlington, and when I applied for the job, is they're looking for people to make stairs. And then, I mean, they saw I had a woodworking knowledge. They put me on a machine, and I would do spindles, but it would just drill the hole on the edge of a spindle. So you put the spindle in, press a pedal,
Yeah.
drill goes in, pull it out, and I
Uh,
did that maybe for 10 hours a day. And it was
oh,
mind numbing. And I went to the guy and I'm like, listen, like, if you want me to build those stairs, what those guys are doing, like, I can do that. Like, like, I'm
yeah.
about to quit. I can't do this anymore. So I kind of
Yeah.
hopped over on the other thing and kind of helped those guys along. But
Okay.
yeah, and I remember talking with the guy. He's like, yeah, I've been doing this 7 years. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
couldn't even imagine. So it was one of those
Right.
things where,
Yeah.
that's like,
Well, I was young. It was my first real big job, and Lazy Boy paid well.
yeah,
So it was good for me that way. And the funny thing is a little bit is that when I went to high school, they wouldn't let me take shop. I wanted to study woodworking and they wouldn't let me.
why
I
is
don't
that?
know. They said that they didn't really let girls in back then. There was very few, like it just didn't happen. So when I left high school, because I didn't finish high school, I just walked out one day and said, that's it. I've had enough of this. I'm going to go out and get a job, which is what I did. And, but then I got the job, like, when I was 21, I got the job at Lazy Boy and they hired me into the woodroom. And I was like, screw you, school. Like,
Listen, I don't
so, and
understand
then,
why you would tell a kid not to take it, right? I think everyone should be
yeah,
taking shop. I think that's what's wrong with what's going on. You got to get
yeah.
everyone in. Like,
Well, now there's not enough tradespeople, and they're saying, they're saying, take trades. We don't have enough tradespeople in this world now.
it's the problem, right? Everyone was a doctor, lawyer,
Yep.
engineer,
Yeah, my
and
parents were old fashioned. They thought I should be like whatever women did, like, right? Go become a secretary or something. I was like, yeah, right. Like I'm gonna do that,
come on,
you know?
yeah, like my, I mean, whatever my kids want to do, but they're so little. But my little guy's in the shop, and I think he was just 1.5, and he would be in here with me nonstop.
Really?
And it was. We have videos of him. He like
Nice.
if I brought it, he's napping now. But if I walked him in here, I'd be able to tell you what each machine does. And I mean, I see it in him, and he loves it. He's got his tool bench at home, but he loves being in here with
Cool.
me and doing all that stuff. I
Yeah.
remember
How old is he?
He's 3.
He's 3. Okay.
He takes my drills and he'll drill. And I tell people, it's like, you have to, like, I wish I had the videos on this phone, but yeah, he's like pulls the drill and he's able to drill, put in screws and all that stuff. But it was just one of those things
Yeah.
where kid was in a playpen when I was building the thing, and I dragged the playpen and he was in here with me.
Wow.
And I mean, like, and then we do hand over hand. And then I remember one time he's like, oh, I'll do it. And then he did it. And it was one of those things where it's just like, all right. And then kind of sees me on the table saw, and then he kind of, oh, what's that do? And I mean, I'm just talking to him, didn't realize he was kind of retaining it. And the kid just loves it nonstop.
Right.
He's like, oh, I'm going to go build you a shelf, or I'm going to do this. And so we kind of,
that's awesome. Okay.
yeah,
Won't that be nice when he gets older, like that you'll be able to like work in the shop together? And you have another one, a little girl?
Yeah,
or boy?
I have another little boy.
You have to get the little girl. Oh, you have another little boy.
Yeah, 2 boys.
Okay. 2 boys.
So
Okay.
it doesn't matter. Even if we had a little girl, I would even love it. It's just,
yes,
I think it was an
absolutely.
opportunity for me because, I mean, as you can tell, sometimes life gets so busy, right? So if I'm in here and I remember giving my wife a break, or, you know what I mean, she was tired, I would take him in the shop, and that's what we'd spend hours in here. She's like, everything okay? I'm like, yeah, he's good. He's, you know what I mean? He's in here. So,
yeah.
But
okay.
yeah, so.
I'd be a bit nervous about having the baby in the shop, definitely.
No,
but I'm certain Daddy was being careful, right?
Yeah. No, the baby hasn't been in here, but he was like 1.5 when he started coming in here.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it was. Like, he had his own little PlayStation at like a little area where he'd work at the bottom, let me get some stuff done. If I was planing wood or running joiner, he wouldn't be in here. It was just more of if I was gluing, doing my assembly work and stuff like that. But yeah, he put on, if it's too loud, he'd go grab earmuffs. He had a little apron that he'd put on. It was right beside mine when we walked in. And he'd have his earmuffs on.
You need to take pictures of that kind of stuff. That's content, man.
Yeah, you know what? As much as I am on social media, I don't want him on there because there's horror stories that you hear about. So yeah, I saw a picture of my kid for an ad, and because you don't own it, right?
Right. Okay. Good
So
point. Yeah,
that
that
was
is a
my,
good
you
point.
know what I mean? There's two instances where kind of new people that happened. It's like, oh, I
Okay.
really don't want that
Yeah,
happening,
that
right?
that really sucks.
I think it
Yeah,
was more of
I
a
forget that
Facebook
we don't
thing,
own
but
it, right? Yeah. When
yeah,
it's on
like
Instagram, we don't own it.
fine,
We own it, but we don't. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Everybody, the
but
world owns it once you put it out there. It's for everybody, right?
yeah. So for me, I don't care, but I think something for someone taking a picture of my kid and making money off of it in that sense. For
Yeah.
I think the ad was like for vacations. There was just a picture of a family and kids or something like that, but it was
Okay.
still
Oh,
enough where it's like you can't go after
yeah.
somebody or you know what I
Right.
mean.
I've had people
So
ask me if they can use my post. I had Vistaprint actually ask me.
nice.
So,
Did
because
you let them?
I said yes. I
Yeah,
said sure, go for it, because it's advertising for me,
yeah.
right? That's the way I
Everyone
looked
wins,
at it.
right?
Yeah, everyone wins. Yeah, yeah. I bought a banner from them and I posted it, and Vistaprint came on and said, "Hey, we'd like to use your post, or we don't know
Perfect.
how we'll use it or when or whatever, but we'd like to be able to use this." Yeah, thanks for asking. Go for it.
Yeah, I think those at least someone asks, right? I think you hear
Yeah.
about stolen content all the time, or I don't know if
Oh
they would fall under.
yeah, I know, I
So
know.
that's
I caught
yeah.
someone once. He was really dumb about it too, because he liked my stuff. He liked my post, and I didn't recognize him. And I try always to go and check out whoever follows me, right? Just to check them out. And if I see a similarity in what we're doing, I'll follow them, which is why I follow a lot of people. But I went and I looked at this kid's feed, and like, there's my post. Dude,
Did you
you
call him
take
out
this.
on it?
I called him out. I said, "Yo, dude," I said, you take this off right now." I said, "You didn't even ask me." I said, I told him, I said, "If you would have asked me," I said, and I put it right on the post too. I put it right on the post that this is mine. Take it down. And he did. He took it down, and then I blocked him. I didn't need to block him, but I just thought, yeah, that's good. Like, just learn your lesson, little boy. You know. So, because
I
we
guess
all work
that's why
hard.
people put they
Yeah,
put the
they put their
logos on
little.
everything they
I
post.
know. I tried to keep up on that, and I kind of got away from it. I should go back to that, but right now
I wish I
I'm
had
in
the
a lot of
money
the.
to have someone post my pictures for me. I think follow me around in the
Um,
shop, post some pictures, and just do it for me.
it would have to be somebody that you really got along with really well to be with them all day long, in your way, taking pictures and all that stuff.
Yeah, good point. Or if I
Yeah.
had cameras set up that they would be able to use the material. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
In my head, I've tried different ways to kind of get
Yeah.
content. Like there was ideas of a YouTube page, and I was like, I just can't get in there and do it. I wanted to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I think
that's
I
what
have a
I'm
pretty good
doing.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have a pretty good
It's
story,
hard.
and I like talking woodworking. It's just the
Yeah.
matter of just getting there and doing it. It's just like, all right,
I could see you
I
doing
got.
really well. I could see you doing really well with a YouTube channel for sure. It maybe
Oh,
later in life, or
yeah, who knows if YouTube will be around, right?
oh, I think they'll be around for
Oh,
forever.
I think there's going to
Yeah.
be a big divide come September. So I think the people are awakening to the perils of YouTube. So
Right. Right.
I think it's Joe Rogan leaving YouTube for Spotify, and Spotify starting their own streaming service.
Oh, okay. I
So
wasn't aware of this.
yeah, so
Okay.
it's because without getting into it, I think they were
Yep.
restricting his views, and he's
Oh.
leaving, and then Spotify is launching their whole video platform under him.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I think that's a great opportunity for
Interesting.
a newer YouTube or newer streaming service. You kind of get in there at the ground floor. That's what I would do, or make it
Gee, that's
available that way.
interesting.
So
Well, listen, we're gonna have to meet in person someday.
definitely
Yeah, I wanted to do a makers meet. Um, I was supposed to do it in May. I've been planning it since like January,
pre-plague.
and then yeah, so everything stopped now. So because I got a nice big yard, and I just thought, I could have a bunch of people here. We could do a little barbecue. Everybody can chit chat and relax, and
Yeah,
it would be nice, right? So not really. I don't really have I'm not going to be like one of these guys that has all the sponsors come in and all that. It would just be more of just getting together, right?
I think
So
it's
one
great when
day,
you
one
see
day.
that sponsorship, but it might get in the way, right? I feel just
Yeah.
get together and
Yeah. Just relax. Just relax. Just, yeah. Let your guard down, whatever. What
yeah.
I'd love to do is actually get all the Live Edge suppliers together. Like all like all of us, and just like one big, and just see how it goes. Because I know that everybody's rubbed each other the wrong way one time or another along the way, but just to get us all together to see that, yeah, we're all just humans. We
Everyone's
love
got to make
wood.
some money, right?
Yeah, we love wood. We just, yeah, we need to work together, and there's plenty of room for everybody, you know, when it comes to the woodworking industry, whether it be suppliers or makers, or epoxy, whatever. There's lots of room for everyone, as far as I'm concerned, especially in Ontario.
Yeah,
There's so much
definitely.
woodworking going on. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Perfect.
anyways, so I guess we probably are, this is probably the longest interview I've ever done. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
love
it
it.
was a
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
Thanks for having me. And
Yes, I'm so
yeah,
nice of you to take the time
no
to do it,
worries.
for sure. Yeah, right on. Okay,
All right.
so yeah, so I'll be in touch about the veneer. Okay, I'll shoot you some
Looking forward
connections
to it.
there. Yeah,
Awesome.
alrighty.
All
Okay.
right.
Oh,
Thanks.
before we go, wait, before we go, what's your Instagram handle?
At Stolar_studios with an S is my Instagram handle.
Right on. And what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Instagram, easiest way, and I believe my phone number's on there too. So
okay. All
and
right.
then yeah,
Right on.
but yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much then.
Thanks for having me. Chat
Okay.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed watching, be sure to click like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell to stay in the loop. If you have any questions, or if you would like to be featured on the Live Edge Lumber Girl show, leave a comment below. Until next time.